like if Krampus decided to retire and become like a chicken farmer in North Dakota or something. Sorry about that. What's up, everybody? Eric here, Tabletop Haven, coming at you with another after one-ish play, after a play-ish, after not sure exactly what we're going with. But Star Wars, the Clone Wars. I am currently 2 plays into this, so this series is kind of going to be after one or a few plays and kind of my initial gut reactions on the game, how I feel about it, things like that. And so we have Star Wars: A Clone Wars, a pandemic system. All right, so little history. Pandemic was one of the games that kind of it wasn't my gateway. Catan was my probably my true gateway. But Pandemic was one of the early on ones. I was like, oh, cool. The cooperative thing was pretty neat. Just played Pandemic a couple weeks ago with a new group of people, and it's still solid. I still like it. It still holds up. It's gonna stay in the collection. It's just a fun thing to pull out every once in a while, and yeah, just kind of hammer out. But Star Wars, the Clone Wars, how does it stack up? For me, Star Wars is a bit of an up and down. Um, I like Star Wars. I love the idea of Star Wars, but I haven't gotten like super into it. I will watch things. I watched the first season of Mandalorian. Thought it was very good. Didn't watch Boba Fett. I heard Andor is good. Um, the movies, I still haven't seen the ninth movie. I heard things. I don't like hearing things, but I heard things, and so I will get there eventually. But I like the initial trilogy. I've seen it. I was one of the ones who I hated two. Um, I didn't hate the Phantom Menace. I hated Jar Jar in the Phantom Menace. Anyway, we're talking about this. But I watched a little bit of the Clone Wars, the cartoon. But again, I haven't watched the whole thing. So that's kind of my Star Wars background. So coming into this, I'm like, Star Wars, okay, cool, cool-ish. It's not like the IP itself is going to be like, yep, that's it. Like, I'm going to enjoy the game because I love Star Wars and everything about it, and I'm going to just love the game. So that's why I'm kind of give you a little bit of history. But anyway, Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Um, I think is solid. I think it's a lot of fun. And it's one of the things I'm going to talk about when I am doing these kind of reviews, and something for me, and I know fun is relative for everyone. For some people, a Lacerda brain burny 3 hour engaged in thinking is fun for them. I'm going into it with a like, yeah, oh, that's fun. That's cool. That's fun. We're doing things. I feel like I'm doing stuff and getting things done. Don't get me wrong. I can love a good Euro, like, and get into it, like a Trajan, things like that, and really enjoy it. And, but I'm just looking at like fun factor, and for that, this is great. Like, it's real good. It has the system where you are drawing the different invasion cards and what planets are going to get overrun, and you have the pandemic outbreak system, but it's a little bit different in the fact that it will cause a planet to get blockaded. But what changes this up from pandemic, and what I think I like about it, especially considering I have played pandemic recently, and pandemic definitely has its place. But couple things. First thing, dice. I like dice rolling. I think it's fun. So the fact that you get to do this, there's an element of randomness, an element of chance, but also you're rolling dice, which I think is fun. So you have that, you throw this in the mix, and so it allows you to feel like you're doing something instead of just essentially you're pulling cubes you're pulling droids off a planet, pulling cubes off a city, call it what you will. So you're trying to, but there's a more thematic and cool element of sending your Jedi to a planet and having them kill some droids. And then you have this, and you have your cards that allow you to supplement this so you're not completely messed over by a die roll. However, in game one, the final came down to a die roll, and this was rolled. That's a blank, and we lost on the very last turn. If it had been anything other than a blank, we had enough to win the game, and we didn't. So there's that. I've also only played on so far on the lowest difficulty. We did play against Count Dooku, which I think is one of the more difficult, theoretically, villains or bosses, or call it what you will. So low difficulty on missions, higher difficulty on the villain, and so take that for your will. But we lost on the very last turn. The next game we won. I don't want to say handily, but it was pretty good. Surprisingly, what this game did, or has done in my first two plays initially, is cubes running out in Pandemic could definitely be an issue, and could happen, and they could snowball with the exploding and everything like that. But this game, we lost because we couldn't put any more things out, and that lowers your what's it called? What's the lose condition in this game is. Here we go, doing things and stuff. The threat track. So the threat track over here, this is how you lose games. But when things spread, your threat gets increased. If you reach here, you lose. There's other things that increase that, but we had to add like 3 droids that we didn't have. Boom, 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 you're done. And so that's how we lost. So I guess I wasn't expecting in the game that to be a big end game trigger. And so we didn't pay enough attention to it the first game, and it kind of came back to catch us. Second game, we managed it a little bit more, but we still kind of pushed it at the end to push the end game at the risk of adding potentially more droids that could have ended it. So it made it closer than probably if we had taken another turn or two to kind of clear some of the droids out and go from there. But anyway, I like this. The fact that you get to battle, you get to fight, you get to use this. I like the different villains. I like that they have different powers. Every turn, something is gonna happen. They're gonna do something. They're gonna manipulate the board in some way. Dooku, what he does is he has Grievous and Ventress, I think her name is. Ventress and Grievous as kind of like henchmen. So there's like potentially 3 villains on the board at the same time that you're kind of dealing with. But I think that's fun. The squad cards. Where are the squad cards? These ones here. I think this is not squad cards at all, actually. These are squad cards? No, those aren't squad cards. Ha! Look at this. Professional. I'm not a professional. Not even close. I don't even pretend to be one on TV. These, boom. These are also huge. I think a great addition, the squad cards to the game, where you can just take these as an action, and they're going to give you extra attack. They're going to give you defense against attacks. Again, there's some that are special abilities that let you do certain things. It gives you a lot of agency in the game, and I think that's where it's an improvement over the regular Pandemic, is that the options you have don't feel like, I got action, I'm going to do something. Getting the squad cards, it feels good because you feel like you're building up your character. You feel like you're building up your regiment, or call it what you will, your followers. But I think that makes it more interesting and more fun on your turn. I've only played it 3-player. Only played at the 3-player count. I feel like it's a good spot. It's in a good spot at 3 players. I don't know how it would go at 2. I don't know how it would go at 4, so I can only speak on 3 players, but that's probably likely where I'll play it. Maybe 4-player. But I feel like it's good there. The miniatures, I like them. I think they're a good addition. Again, it adds a little thematic. It adds a little feel. So instead of just having a little meeple running around, you got the miniatures running around. And that feels good, and it's cool. You got characters, you got bad guys. They got little droids for your cube, your disease cubes. They're little droids. So like those little touches, I feel like they, even though Star Wars isn't like a huge theme for me, I feel like it brings some excitement to the table. And so yeah, after one-ish plays, after 2 plays of Star Wars The Clone Wars, I recommend it. 2 thumbs up. I I don't know if I'm gonna do rating. I don't know. I'm still not sure on the ratings. I gave ratings on Final Girl. I don't if I had my gut reaction on this is probably, I'm gonna go 8 because I'm thinking about it in relation to Pandemic. I'd probably go like a 7, and so I'm like, I like this better than Pandemic, but it's not to the point yet where I feel like it's not a 9. So I'm gonna go that sweet spot at 8 currently. Could go up, could go down. I don't know if it's going to get, I don't want to say generic, but I don't know if it's going to get boring. But the fact that there's different villains, if it does well, I'm guessing they'll probably bring out expansions, bring on new villains and things like that, which is potentially good, potentially bad. As far as painting the miniatures go, the miniatures quality is fine. It's not great, but it's fine. But as far as painting goes, I feel like these would be a pretty good, not too difficult paint. They're not insanely detailed, but they're detailed enough where it'd be interesting. But I have a lot of stuff to paint, so I don't think this one's at the forefront. Right now, Oathsorn is at the forefront of my painting, and so that's a lot to deal with. So anyway, yeah, Star Wars, The Clone Wars, I think is a wonderful addition to the pandemic world, pandemic system. I think it's Pandemic Legacy Season 1 is my ultimate. It's a 10 for me. So it's not there. But I think it's great. I think it's well done, and I think it's fun. And I think if the Star Wars IP is of any interest, if Pandemic was at all enjoyable for you, I think this is a good buy for you. I think it's a good idea, and it's worth checking out and possibly in your collection, because for me, it's gonna stay for a while because I like it. I think it's great. Bye. Love ya. Have fun. Keep on keeping on. Later.